My daughter was brutally sexually assaulted. On the day of the court hearing, my wife, a top celebrity lawyer, chose to defend the suspect, all because he was the son of her first love and long-standing obsession. She dismissed every piece of our evidence, even demanding that Anna reenact the assault scene as evidence. Anna had an emotional breakdown on the spot, and Chloe won a complete victory. After the trial, I questioned her again and again. Chloe Campbell, why? She responded with righteous indignation, I know you've always cared about my past with Leo Pierce, but it's going too far for you to conspire with our daughter to frame Leo's son as the criminal. Anna couldn't accept her mother's betrayal and ended her own life in pain in her bedroom. I frantically called Chloe Campbell. When the call connected, the sound of elegant dance music greeted my ears. I'm attending the welcome dinner Leo prepared for his son. I'm hanging up. Don't call again. I stared at my daughter's body for a long time, then pulled a number from the blacklist in my address book. I want to overturn the case. I know you have ways. Have you thought it through? You want me to help you overturn the case? If this case is overturned, Chloe Campbell's reputation in the legal community will be ruined. You exhausted all your connections to push her to her current position. Can you bear it? Victoria Sterling's voice on the phone was probing. She didn't believe me, and I didn't blame her. After all, back then, to be with Chloe Campbell, I defied all opposition and broke off my arranged marriage engagement with her. I didn't answer her question and said directly, if it's convenient, please draft a divorce agreement for me as soon as possible. The call ended just as the funeral home staff arrived. After the farewell ceremony, I watched as the workers placed my daughter into the cremator. With a roar, the cremator occasionally emitted crackling sounds. It was my daughter's body crying out. She was pleading for me to avenge her. Holding my daughter's ashes, I went directly to Chloe Campbell's law firm. The firm was bustling with noise. Chloe was holding a commemorative plaque and taking photos with Leo Pierce and his son. Colleagues' teasing reached my ears. Lawyer Campbell, you married too early. You and Mr. Pierce look so well matched together. Yes, anyone who didn't know would think you were a family of three. Don't talk nonsense. Chloe scolded with feigned seriousness, but a smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. I held the urn containing Anna's ashes, my fingers almost digging into the box. My daughter's body was barely cold, yet Chloe Campbell was acting like a family of three with the very person responsible. Perhaps the hostility radiating from me was too intense, because Chloe finally noticed me. She frowned slightly. What are you doing here? I handed her the divorce agreement. I'm here to file for divorce. A trace of impatience curled her lips. What my colleague said just now was nonsense. You're not that petty, are you? What are you holding? Put it down first. Sit down and have a cup of tea with Leo. My voice was gloomy. Anna's ashes. The atmosphere in the office instantly froze. The smile vanished from Chloe's face. She slapped the urn out of my hands. Haven't you caused enough trouble? Watch your language in front of clients. Anna is our daughter. How can you curse her like that? I watched the urn fall to the ground and panically knelt down. Fortunately, it didn't open. But my heart ached for my daughter, who couldn't even rest in peace after death. I clutched the urn tightly to my chest, glaring at her with bloodshot eyes. She pulled me up from the ground and sighed softly. All right, I have an interview later. We'll talk properly after it's over. Before leaving, she asked, come with me, okay? She was always busy with work that we spent more time apart than together. In the past, to see her more often, I often accompanied her on business trips. Our hearts were sweet back then. Now, all I could think about was using this chance to discuss the divorce. I nodded silently and went out with her. But just as I opened the driver's door, Leo Pierce squeezed in first. I get carsick easily. I'll drive today. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Foster. I ignored him and turned to the back seat. Leo was clearly surprised I was so compliant. He paused for a moment before closing the door. I sat in the back, holding my daughter's ashes tightly. But obviously, Leo Pierce wasn't going to let me off that easily. Just before getting out, he glanced at his phone and suddenly spoke. Chloe, the host just notified me I need to wear formal attire. What should I do? As he spoke, his gaze kept drifting toward me in the back seat. Chloe saw the suit I was wearing and said without hesitation, take it off and give it to Leo. But it was summer. I only had a single pair of trousers on underneath. Taking off the suit would leave me in only my underwear. And Leo Pierce was wearing athletic shorts, which he obviously couldn't take off for me. I don't want to wear it. Impossible. I refused. Leo pretended to be troubled. Chloe, it's fine. Anyway, you're the star of this interview. Whether I participate or not isn't important. No, without you, this interview wouldn't even be happening. With that, Chloe said no more, climbed into the back seat, and reached out to rip my suit jacket off. What's a grown man hiding for? Covering my nearly naked body, I looked up and met Leo Pierce's provocative gaze. Sorry, Mr. Foster. We're really in a hurry. They left together. Before leaving, Chloe locked the car doors. The car has tinted windows. Stay put and behave. But she seemed to forget it was summer. Noon, nearly 40 degrees Celsius, the car parked in an open parking lot. Within 10 minutes, I was almost suffocating. At the last moment, I suddenly remembered the spare key from when I bought the car had always been in the glove compartment. Exhausted, I drove the car home. That night, she sure enough didn't come back. And I, alone, sat in my daughter's bedroom, holding her old stuffed animal, tears streaming down my face, crying until I fell asleep. In the morning, I was awakened by a commotion. Coming out of my daughter's room, I saw Leo Pierce, wearing an apron, busy in the kitchen. He beamed at me. You're awake. Breakfast will be ready soon. He looked as if he were the master of this house. Chloe Campbell nearby was helping to set the breakfast on the table. Leo said thanks to you for lending him the clothes yesterday. Otherwise, the interview wouldn't have been so successful. You have no idea. After the interview started trending on social media, the law firm's appointment phone line has been jammed since this morning. Nonsense. It was your own charisma that won over the netizens. Chloe and Leo Pierce's gazes met and intertwined ambiguously in the air. But I caught the keywords in their conversation, took out my phone, and clicked on the hot search. The topic celebrity lawyer Chloe Campbell upheld justice at a personal cost was prominently ranked first. A sense of foreboding shot up from the soles of my feet. I hurriedly clicked on the video. In it, Chloe Campbell and Leo Pierce were discussing Anna's case extensively. Many previously undisclosed details became talking points for them. Later, his statement that it was all a prank by me and Anna served as the final verdict on the case. The comments section was flooded with vitriol against me and my daughter. I wouldn't mind helping her fulfill her dream. Anyone who could raise such a daughter must be no good himself. I couldn't bear that Anna was no longer in this world, yet still subjected to these people's baseless curses. I snatched a plate from the table and hurled it at Chloe Campbell. You're climbing to fame by stepping on our daughter's corpse. I hope you die a wretched death. The ceramic plate shattered, scattering the freshly prepared breakfast all over the floor. Leo Pierce rushed to Chloe's side in a panic. Chloe, are you okay? After confirming she was fine, he looked at her with a hint of disappointment. Chloe, should I not have arranged that interview? I thought your husband would be happy to see you become a celebrity lawyer. Chloe shot a look of disgust at me. James Foster, can't you stand to see me succeed? Do you have any idea how much more a celebrity lawyer can earn in a year? Isn't it all for this family? Just as I was about to retort, Leo Pierce, standing beside me, suddenly collapsed, his finger scraping against a ceramic shard. It drew blood instantly. He sucked in a sharp breath. Mr. Foster, how could you resort to violence? I didn't. Chloe utterly ignored my explanation and shoved me toward the area of the floor with the most shards. The tremendous impact instantly sliced a piece of flesh from my elbow, and blood gushed out nonstop. I looked up, and I saw Chloe Campbell take Leo Pierce's finger into her mouth, her concerned gaze uncontrollable. Ultimately, she was still worried about the small wound on Leo's finger getting infected and took him to the hospital. I lay alone in a pool of blood, not even warranting a glance. Watching her resolute retreating figure, it was hard to imagine I had loved this woman for 10 years. When she returned, it was already 8 p.m. I was worried about Leo's wound getting infected, so we stayed at the hospital for observation. That's why I'm so late, she explained. But I no longer cared. I simply took out the divorce agreement again. When will you sign the divorce agreement? Hearing me bring up divorce again, she instantly flew into a rage. James Foster, do you really think I'm still that little girl who can't live without you? I'm a celebrity lawyer now. Do you have any idea how far my appointments are booked out? Fine, let's get divorced. We'll see who regrets it. She signed her name angrily, stormed towards the door, and slammed it shut behind her 5 minutes later. Hearing the noise, I looked toward the entrance and saw an open delivery box there. I suddenly remembered something and quickly walked over to check the shipping label. Anna Foster's name was printed prominently on it. It was a collectible figure my daughter had bought before she died. But now it was empty. Before I could even call Chloe Campbell, I saw a video pushed to me on social media. In the video, Nate Pierce was holding my daughter's collectible figure and thanking her. In the comments, Chloe's image was elevated yet another level. Trembling with rage, I called Victoria Sterling. How is the evidence gathering going? I can't wait any longer. Victoria's voice came through calmly. We're making progress. Wait patiently. Near dinner time, I suddenly received a message from Chloe Campbell. It was a reservation confirmation for a revolving restaurant. Didn't Anna always want to eat here? I've booked a spot. Bring Anna along tonight. I stared at the message, a sarcastic smile curling my lips. How indifferent must one be to not even notice their daughter had been gone for so many days? Since it was Anna's final wish, I had no reason not to fulfill it. I placed my daughter's portrait of the deceased in my bag and drove to the restaurant. Chloe was already at the entrance when I arrived. Seeing I was alone, she frowned slightly. Where's Anna? Is she still mad at me? Yes. I only answered the second question. Even in heaven, my daughter would not forgive her. At our reserved table, I took the portrait out of my bag and placed it on the table. Chloe slammed her hand down on it with a slap. Haven't you had enough? How long are you going to keep up this joke? Someone has been reinvestigating Anna's case recently. Was it you? I scoffed lightly, snatching the portrait back from her. What are you afraid of? Weren't you so sure Leo Pierce wasn't lying? Scared of an investigation? Fine. She was unusually agreeable today. The waiter brought the menus, and she pushed one toward me, letting me look first. However, I had barely turned one page when the chair beside me was suddenly pulled out. I looked up and met Leo Pierce's provocative gaze. A boy stood beside him. Nate Pierce had come too. He naturally sat down diagonally across from me and asked, "Where's little sister Anna? Is she still angry with me?" Looking at his feigned, innocent face, I wanted to tear him apart. But having dinner at this restaurant was Anna's final wish, and I didn't want to ruin it. While we were ordering, Chloe got up and went to the restroom. Nate Pierce dropped his previous pretense of kindness and grinned malevolently at the portrait on the table. So she really is dead. What a coward. I just sent her a short clip. There were more exciting parts to come. You have no idea how sweet she sounded when she was being violated. He stroked his chin, his expression lewd, his gaze full of longing. What a pity someone like that is dead. A real waste. The next second, his eyes instantly turned fierce. But who told her to call the police? Dare to accuse me. There has to be a price. My breath caught, a sharp pain gripping my heart. My hand clutching the menu tightened uncontrollably. What did you say? Nate Pierce beamed brightly. Getting angry already. What if I told you there were several leading men in that video? Everyone who's had a taste of your daughter's body said it was great. Boom. Something collapsed inside me. I could no longer restrain myself. I grabbed the flower pot from the table and aimed it at his head. But before the pot could leave my hand, a kick landed on my waist. Chloe Campbell had returned. I staggered from the kick. Chloe roared furiously, "James Foster, what are you doing?" The vase fell to the ground with a loud crash, and the entire restaurant's attention turned toward me. Nate Pierce, his expression completely changed from moments before, instantly hid behind Chloe Campbell. "Annie Chloe, it seems Uncle Foster doesn't welcome me very much." Leo Pierce also chimed in opportunely. "Maybe I should just take Nate and leave first." Saying this, he sighed lightly and took Nate's hand to leave. "No need." Chloe's voice was cold and hard. She turned and slapped me across the face. "Apologize to Nate." I finally lost my balance, my entire body crashing straight into the railing. My head suffered a heavy blow. Losing consciousness, I saw Chloe Campbell standing anxiously in front of Nate Pierce, fussing over him. And Nate Pierce shot me a triumphant smile. When I opened my eyes again, I smelled the pungent odor of disinfectant. Realizing I was in the hospital, I turned to look around and met Victoria Sterling's helpless gaze. "Haven't seen you in years, and you've gotten yourself into this state," Victoria Sterling said, a hint of her old teasing tone returning. "If you had been with me back then, you wouldn't have ended up like this." I didn't want to listen to her sarcasm and asked directly, "Did you find the evidence?" She nodded, pulling up a video on her phone and handing it to me. Just as I was about to watch it, she spoke, "Prepare yourself mentally." I took a deep breath and hit play. The screen showed my daughter Anna's desperate face and several men with leering grins. Anna's terrified screams filled my ears. My throat constricted and tears slid down my cheeks silently. Victoria took the phone back from my hand and patted my shoulder comfortingly. A notification from social media chimed on the phone. To keep tabs on Leo Pierce's antics, I had followed him on a burner account. I picked up my phone. Leo Pierce was live streaming. In the stream, Nate Pierce was wearing a birthday hat, cutting a piece of birthday cake and handing it to Chloe Campbell. "Godmother, you have the first piece," he said. Leo Pierce was beside them, answering questions from netizens. "Yes, my Nate has recognized lawyer Campbell as his godmother," he stated. Chloe Campbell chimed in. "Nate Pierce's presence has filled the void of not having a son of my own." Victoria Sterling watched from the side and asked me, "When do you plan to make your move?" My eyes were fixed intently on the screen. "Right now," I said. Victoria nodded, stood up, told me to rest well, and prepared to go to the police station alone. But how could I not be there for something like avenging my daughter? I insisted on checking out of the hospital and went with her to the police station. The police acted immediately. Because they were live streaming, pinpointing their location was effortless. When the police kicked the door open, Chloe Campbell was in the midst of feeding a peeled shrimp to Nate Pierce. My eyes welled up with heat. She had never peeled shrimp for our daughter. When Anna used to sweetly coax her or act affectionately, she would just sternly scold her, telling her to do things herself. The police had seen the evidence, so they didn't hold back with Nate Pierce. In a few moves, they pinned him down on the dining table and slapped handcuffs on him. A flash of ferocity crossed Nate's eyes, but he quickly softened his tone and looked at Chloe Campbell. "Godmother, save me." Chloe Campbell finally processed what was happening. She took off her disposable gloves and spoke with righteous indignation. "On what grounds are you arresting him? Making an arrest without evidence is a violation of procedure, don't you know?" The officer escorting Nate started to leave. "It's not your place to tell us how to do our job. If we dared to arrest him, we definitely have evidence." The live stream's comments flew fast and furious. "What's happening? Nate Pierce got arrested. The police say they have evidence. Does that mean he really is a rapist?" Chloe Campbell was his defense lawyer. "So that means she helped a rapist get acquitted." Chloe Campbell saw the scrolling comments, her eyes suddenly turning sharp. She looked at Leo Pierce beside her. "Didn't you tell me Nate was framed? Why would the police have evidence?" Leo Pierce stepped forward, his eyes fixed intently on her. "Chloe, believe me, Nate wouldn't do such a thing. You're the only one who can help him now. Really." Chloe's expression softened slightly, but she couldn't help confirming again. Netizens in the live stream directly started attacking her. Is this really a celebrity lawyer? Not investigating the evidence herself, just listening to the suspect. Did this guy save her life or something? She trusts him so much. Seeing this, Chloe Campbell seemed to finally be jolted awake by the criticism. "I will investigate the evidence myself. Whether a not guilty defense is possible, I will reassess." After saying this, she shook off Leo Pierce's hand and walked straight toward me. "Hubby, what are you doing here? Is Anna home alone? Let's go home together. I actually have something I want to ask her." I slapped her across the face. "What else is there to ask? Do you need Anna to reenact the scene for you one more time? You've already driven our daughter to her death. What more do you want?" My eyes were red, my whole body trembling. Her gaze flickered, but she quickly denied it. "Impossible. Anna was never assaulted. How could she suddenly commit suicide?" My blood boiled. Nate Pierce had already been arrested, yet she still didn't believe our daughter. I roared, "Haven't you noticed that Anna hasn't been seen for a week? Viewers in the live stream exclaimed in surprise. A week. The daughter's been gone for a week and the mom didn't notice. Could she really be dead that a father wouldn't joke about something like that? Well, at Pinecrest Funeral Home last week, we did cremate a young girl who committed suicide after an assault. Could it be such a coincidence? Chloe Campbell watched the scrolling comments and retorted angrily. That can't be my daughter. My daughter had a very sunny personality. She would never commit suicide. After speaking, her eyes narrowed slightly, and her gaze fell behind me. Victoria Sterling had been standing silently behind me since entering, not drawing attention to herself. But her innate air of nobility was hard to ignore. Almost the second she saw Victoria, Chloe Campbell instinctively straightened her posture. After all, in her heart, Victoria Sterling had always been her rival, both in university and now. During university, Chloe Campbell and Victoria Sterling both attended the law department at Jingda University. One was a striver who got ahead solely through academic excellence. The other was the product of an elite upbringing from a great family. Both were exceptionally good-looking and were hailed as the two brightest stars of the law department. Unfortunately, in every aspect, Chloe Campbell was overshadowed by Victoria Sterling, earning her the nickname the perpetual runner-up. That was until I appeared. For her, I fought against my entire family, broke off my arranged marriage engagement with Victoria Sterling, and chose to be with her. Victoria became the laughingstock of the entire school. Later, in their professional careers, Victoria remained an opponent Chloe could not look down upon. Now, seeing Victoria Sterling standing by my side, Chloe reached out to grab me. Did Victoria Sterling say something to you? Were those police officers just now also brought by her? Don't be used by her. She just wants to come between us. The netizens commented, "What's this situation now? The crime drama just turned into a melodramatic soap opera. Two women fighting over one man. I love it, but that Victoria Sterling has more presence. She carries herself with such nobility." Seeing the topic gradually shifting, I avoided Chloe's grasping hand and vindicated Victoria Sterling. Victoria Sterling is here at my invitation. You didn't believe our daughter, but someone else did. Then, I took out a death certificate from my pocket, unfolded it, and placed it in front of her. I had told her twice before that our daughter was dead, and she hadn't believed me. This time, I had specially brought the death certificate issued by the funeral home. See it clearly now. Do you believe it now? Impossible. Her knees buckled, and she staggered back a step, bumping into the table behind her. The dishes on the table crashed to the floor in a clatter, but she paid them no mind. Her eyes were locked onto the death certificate. It was stamped with the seal of the funeral home, the exact same funeral home mentioned by the staff member who had spoken up moments before. She didn't want to believe it, but as a criminal defense lawyer who often handled homicide cases, she could discern the authenticity of such a document. In the live stream chat, the funeral home staff member commented again, "Ah, no wonder it looked so familiar. It's truly a shame, such a young life." Only the father was present that day. We were a bit puzzled why the mother wouldn't come to such an important occasion. These words shattered Chloe Campbell's last shred of denial. Her voice was hoarse as she asked me, "Why would our daughter commit suicide? She was always so cheerful." I let out a bitter laugh, tears streaming down uncontrollably. Yes, Anna was once such a sunny, cheerful little girl. What kind of despair did she experience to choose to end her young life? You should ask yourself that. Why would you believe others over your own daughter? It was you who pushed her into the abyss with your own hands. No, it's not. Chloe shook her head repeatedly. It was Leo who said, mentioning Leo Pierce. She seemed to finally remember something. She turned and walked toward him with fury in her eyes. Leo Pierce clearly sensed the danger and spoke up to soothe her. "Chloe, you've spent time with Nate these past days. You've seen for yourself. Nate is a quiet boy. How could he possibly do such a thing?" The fire in Chloe's eyes dimmed slightly. She halted her steps and turned to look at me. "James, can you show me the evidence you provided to the police?" I smiled sardonically. "See, just one word from Leo Pierce, and not even our daughter's death can earn your complete trust." Seeing my expression, Chloe hurriedly explained, "It's not that I don't believe Anna. She's our daughter. How could I bear to see her wronged?" After the incident, I investigated the school's surveillance footage. That afternoon, Nate Pierce left school an hour and a half earlier than Anna. It didn't match the time of the assault Anna described. That's why I didn't believe it. And besides, Nate, he really is quite well behaved. I gave a bitter laugh, pulled up the video on my phone, found an angle hidden from the live stream camera, and handed it to her. Fine. Take a good look at how well behaved your godson is. The timing doesn't match. Could it be a multiple perpetrator attack where Nate left early and Anna only recognized Nate? After enduring something like that, you still expected her to remember every detail. Don't you think you're being cruel? She stared at the images on the phone, her whole body seeming to freeze solid. She was deaf to my words, offering no response. However, the moment I withdrew my phone, she went berserk. She lunged at Leo Pierce, choking his neck and slamming him against the wall. She worked out regularly and was very strong. The veins on her arms, clenched around Leo Pierce's neck, stood out distinctly, showing how much force she was using. She screamed, "Leo Pierce, do you have any idea that coercing a minor into giving false testimony can get you locked up for life?" Leo Pierce was lifted off the ground, his legs flailing wildly in the air. His hands slapped desperately at Chloe's arms, his face turning from red to white. As his struggles grew weaker, a powerful survival instinct made him squeeze out a sentence from his throat. "Don't forget, Nate is your biological son." My hand clenched tightly, my eyes filled with even deeper disappointment for Chloe Campbell. If I remembered correctly, Nate Pierce was a year older than Anna. Calculating the time, back then, I was fighting against my entire family for her. I vaguely remembered her saying she wanted to study abroad to better stand by my side. I fully supported her and covered all her tuition and fees. Turns out the advanced study resulted in a child. Recalling the past, it seemed I was always the one giving in our relationship. Because my family was wealthy, I naturally paid for all our dates. Every birthday, she would pretend to be upset. "James, I'm sorry. The money I earn from my part-time job isn't enough to buy you a proper gift." In the end, my birthdays turned into sessions where I had to comfort her. If I could go back in time, I would surely beat some sense into my love-struck former self. Catching my look of utter disappointment, Chloe Campbell suddenly released Leo Pierce and turned to explain to me anxiously. "Chloe, I really did go abroad to study. That day was an accident. I was drunk. It only happened that one time. Abortion isn't allowed there that I had no choice but to have the baby." She was frantic to explain while the live stream chat exploded. Classic "I was drunk" excuse. Why doesn't money fall from the sky when you're drunk? What nonsense. Biological son. So that's incest. Holy crap. So she's not the godmother. She's the birth-mothered AT. That moment, the sound of leather shoes echoed at the entrance. A woman in an administrative-style jacket walked in. She spoke with an authoritative air from the moment she opened her mouth. "I was unaware that the son I carried for 10 months has another mother." Victoria Sterling was startled upon seeing the newcomer. Director Montgomery. Audrey Montgomery seemed to recognize Victoria Sterling and shook her hand perfunctorily. "My apologies. You've had to witness this farce concerning my son." As she spoke, her intimidating gaze fell upon Leo Pierce. Leo Pierce was sitting on the floor, still catching his breath. He shuddered under her gaze and then began to sob. "Honey, you have to stand up for us, for me and our son. I was desperate. You were providing support in the disaster area that I couldn't reach you. I couldn't just watch our son go to jail. I was also afraid this would affect you, so I came up with this plan." Her child was dumped by me in an orphanage overseas. We haven't been in contact since returning to the country. Leo Pierce cried, tears and mucus streaming down his face. He tried to say more, but was cut off by Audrey Montgomery's sharp command. "Silence." Leo Pierce instantly pressed his lips tightly together, not making another sound. Viewers in the live stream exclaimed in amazement. "My God, this plot. You couldn't make this up. Who would have thought? Just here for the drama. I'd get to see a director, so it seems Chloe Campbell was used by this family. Her reputation is ruined. Kind of pitiful. The person upstairs must have water in their brain. Pitiful. If she hadn't cheated back then, this child wouldn't be pinned on him." Hearing Leo Pierce's words, Chloe Campbell's rage intensified. She lunged at Leo Pierce again. Leo reflexively tried to hide behind Audrey Montgomery. But Chloe simply stepped over, sat on him, pinned him down, and landed 2 hooks with her fists. Leo Pierce, how dare you use me? 2 punches later, Leo Pierce's lip was bleeding. He coughed, spitting out blood, and a tooth fell from his mouth. My tooth. Seeing the tooth, he snapped completely. He looked up at Chloe Campbell, his eyes filled with mockery. So what if I lied to you? Weren't you thrilled when you heard Nate was your biological son? Chloe Campbell drove her fist into Leo Pierce's face. His nose bent grotesquely out of shape. He clutched his nose and screamed in pain, looking at Audrey Montgomery in terror. Honey, save me. Audrey, however, directly averted her gaze and proceeded to shake hands with each police officer present. My apologies for this domestic disturbance causing you trouble. I trust you will handle everything strictly by the book. If crimes have been committed, show no leniency. Comments filled with praise for her flooded the live stream. She waved to the audience and terminated the broadcast. It's often said that those who thrive in the political arena are shrewd operators. At the critical moment, Audrey Montgomery directly abandoned Leo Pierce and his son to save herself. The police led Nate Pierce and Leo Pierce away. The living room, once crowded, was suddenly left with only a few people. I turned to leave with Victoria Sterling, but Chloe Campbell, who had been kneeling on the floor, suddenly sprang up and rushed in front of me. Her once pristine suit now hung loosely on her frame. A button on her shirt had popped off from her violent movements, and a few drops of Leo Pierce's blood were splattered on it. In all the time I'd known her, I had never seen her look so utterly disheveled. Even during university, when she was poor and a white dress turned yellow from washing, it was always clean and neatly worn. I glanced at her and then looked away. Her current state was no longer my concern. I tried to step around her, but in the next second, her knees buckled and she knelt before me. James, I know how terribly wrong I was this time, but I beg you to give me one more chance. Let me make it up to you. She, a woman so proud, was now kneeling before me, begging for a chance. But it was far too late. The one you should be making it up to is our daughter, not me. I cannot forgive you on her behalf. I turned and glanced at Victoria Sterling. Let's go. Chloe Campbell suddenly stood up and grabbed Victoria's collar. It was you who persuaded James, wasn't it? Trying to move in when he's vulnerable. How despicable. And after all these years, you still can't let go. What a pity. James never loved you. I didn't miss the fleeting flash of loss in Victoria Sterling's eyes. I was surprised. What did she have to feel loss about? When I decided to break off the engagement back then, she had even facilitated it. I had always assumed that in our arranged marriage, she held no particular affection for me. Could it be that she actually cared? She had helped me tremendously in overturning the case. How could I let Chloe verbally abuse her? I stepped forward, shielding Victoria. Chloe Campbell, perhaps I once loved you. But if I could choose, I would wish we had never had a past. The mandatory cooling-off period before divorce is over. Find some time to go and finalize the divorce certificate. My words almost completely denied our shared history. She stared at me in disbelief. After a long moment, she spoke. I will not divorce you. I looked at Victoria Sterling. It's not your choice to make. After leaving Leo Pierce's home, I had entrusted Victoria Sterling with filing for divorce against Chloe Campbell. I didn't deny Chloe's professional competence. In the past, my chances of winning a legal battle against her would have been slim. But with Victoria on my side, I had no fear. Victoria drove me home, told me to leave the subsequent matters to her, and to get some rest. Seeing the concern in her eyes, I wanted to ask her something several times, but ultimately, I swallowed all my questions. There was still a tough battle ahead. Now was not the time for such discussions. Although my daughter's case wouldn't be overturned quickly, the live stream from Leo Pierce's home that day had already stirred a wave of public opinion online. Videos of Nate Pierce bullying classmates were dug up and spread widely across the internet. The public persona Chloe Campbell had built by stepping on our daughter's reputation completely collapsed. The law firm's phone lines, once jammed with calls, were jammed again. Only this time, It was to cancel appointments, not make them. I heard people showed up at the firm every day to make a scene, disrupting all work. Chloe Campbell was directly asked to leave the firm. She was supposed to have a chance to become a partner this year. In the divorce case, Victoria Sterling won effortlessly. The evidence, both of marital infidelity and indirectly causing our daughter's death, left Chloe Campbell utterly defenseless. The judge ruled on the spot. As we were leaving the courthouse, Chloe Campbell stopped me. She looked utterly defeated, with a shadow of stubble on her upper lip and none of her former vitality in her eyes. A week prior, my daughter's case had been retried and verdict delivered. Nate Pierce and Leo Pierce were both sentenced to prison. She, the lawyer who had once provided a not guilty defense, was nailed to the pillar of shame. She was finished in the legal community of the capital. "I'll be going abroad soon," she said. "When is our daughter's funeral? Can I attend?" I shook my head. "No. From the moment you defended Nate Pierce in court, you ceased to be her mother." I held our daughter's funeral very quietly. But somehow, many people from online found out and came. They didn't enter, just quietly placed a flower at the entrance, wishing her to rest in peace. I cried uncontrollably. Victoria Sterling stood by my side. Looking at our daughter's portrait, her voice was calm, yet deeply affectionate. "Anna, be happy in heaven. From now on, I will stay by your father's side for you." It was the first time she had revealed such deep feelings for me in my presence. Having my suspicions confirmed, my first instinct was to retreat. I pretended not to grasp the depth of her meaning. But that night, when she drove me home, as we were saying goodbye, she buried her head in my chest. "James, you said you loved her back then, so I let go and allowed you to pursue your happiness. Heaven knows how much I regret it now. Can you give us a chance?" Since our daughter's death, my heart had been tightly wound. At this moment, it relaxed slightly. I took a step back, creating distance between us. "I don't know if I still have the capacity to love anyone." Her eyes lit up with joy. "You don't need to do anything. Just let yourself receive my love." The next day, renovation noises came from next door. As I left for work, I opened my door to find her standing there. She held a bottle of wine. "My place is being renovated. I might be a bit of a disturbance these next few days." I was surprised. "You moved in next door." Her smile was radiant. "Well, it's easier to woo the moon from a nearby balcony." I thought her moving next door was already over the top. But later I realized that was just the tip of the iceberg. Her daily flower deliveries almost filled my house. I never had to worry about meals. Even on days she had court, her assistant would deliver food to my office beforehand. Gifts for every holiday never missed a beat. For my birthday, she chartered a yacht, and we went to Norway to watch whales. She said, "I remember this was your wish when you were 20. I didn't have the right to invite you then. I hope giving it to you at 30 isn't too late." Looking into the deep affection in her eyes, I was finally moved. "Thank you for not giving up on the 30-year-old James Foster. He is willing to be brave for you one more time."